Good day, everyone, and welcome to the 19th session of UP Manila's Lab webinar series, IOL 2025. I'm Gabby Velasquez, and I'll be your host for today's session. As always, it's a pleasure to have you all here as we work together to share knowledge and collaborate in the field of digital health. At UP Manila Standards and Interoperability Lab, or SILAB, as a research and development lab under the UP Manila National Telehealth Center, or the NTHC, our mission is to strengthen digital health capacity in the Philippines, driving progress toward universal health coverage. That's why this year, our focus extends beyond our team. We are committed to empowering a broader community with valuable insights on different concepts like health data standards, interoperability, even artificial intelligence and cybersecurity, among others. And today, we're excited to bring you a special webinar session about the strengthening integrated treatment and care for hepatitis in primary healthcare, or the STITCH project, as we observe the World Hepatitis Day last July 28th, just this Monday. And for that, we have two esteemed resource speakers from the STITCH project itself and learn about the CQI, or the Continuous Quality Improvement, and of course, their telementoring series in the project. Okay, so just a brief background about the project. So the Stitch Telementoring Series, it's a platform dedicated to empowering our frontline health workers in managing hepatitis B and C more effectively in the primary care level. And through expert-led discussions, we'll explore practical strategies for screening, diagnosis, treatment, referral, and follow-up care, all designed to strengthen hepatitis services in our local health units. And alongside this, we'll also be exploring CQI. It's a new concept, a continuous quality improvement, which is a data-driven approach that helps us identify opportunities for growth, for implementation of meaningful changes to enhance health outcomes and system performances. Okay, so again, thank you all for joining us today as we build knowledge, share insights, and grow our learning community, which is committed to continuous improvement. So we hope you guys are excited to learn, share, and connect with our fellow members. And of course, we extend our sincere gratitude to our partners for their unwavering support in making this webinar series, the IOL 2025, possible. So we have the Desire Australia through the Strengthening Standards Capability Project, or the SSCP. So you've watched the video of the SSCP Fire Connectathon. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. So we also have the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, or the DFAT, and of course, the Philippine Council for Health Research and Development, or the DOSTPCHRD. Okay. But before we proceed with our session, again, just a quick rundown of the house rules or reminders for today. This session is already being recorded, and by proceeding with the meeting, you are consenting to be recorded. Kindly stay muted throughout the lecture, but turning on your camera is very much appreciated, especially later during the Q&A. So please add your affiliation. Apologies, okay. We encourage everyone to please change your name for proper identification, and please add your affiliation before your name for proper recognition. And as always, we want this session to be engaging and interactive. So there will be a Q&A portion after the two lectures. So please actively participate and don't hesitate to ask your questions. Again, reminding the group that you have three options. You can either use the raise hand function if you want to ask anonymously, or if you want to type in your questions in the chat box, you may do so. And lastly, if you want to ask anonymously, we have enabled the Q&A button for you. Again, please do not leave. After the Q&A, we'll be having our group photo. And of course, lastly, to receive your electronic certificates of participation. And for us to improve our next sessions, do not forget to complete the evaluation form after this. So these are just the criteria for the issuance of electronic certificates. So as you may all know, has been emailed to you already. Okay, and so to move on, for the community of practice, we're inviting new friends and colleagues to join UPM Labs Community of Practice, a group of experts and practitioners passionate about advancing standards and interoperability in healthcare. So you may scan the QR code or you may sign up to receive our newsletter. So we'll be sending the link shortly. So please join our group and receive updates from UPM Lab. Again, everyone is welcome. And since we will be foregoing the usual Menti, so just a quick question for everyone. I just want to know where all of you guys are connecting from. So please feel free to share your city or region in the chat box, and let's see where everyone's joining us from today. And I hope the weather is fine there. So sana yung internet connection natin throughout the day is stable enough for this session. And so good morning, everyone. So we have attendees from Pampanga, Quezon City. Currently, I'm in Manila. So we have from Bulacan. Thank you so much po for joining us. From the province of Sultan Kudarat. Again, thank you po. We're reaching Visayas and Mindanao. Apologies, just Mindanao for now. But hopefully we also have attendees from the Visayas. All right, so for today's agenda, I won't be keeping you guys waiting. May I introduce our two resource speakers for this session of IOL 101. So joining us today is Ms. Jean Sumalo, a registered nurse and a Master of Public Health candidate at the University of the Philippines, Manila, with extensive experience in deploying health technologies and leading multi-sectoral initiatives. Ms. Sumalo brings a unique blend of clinical insight and the project management expertise to the table. And as a project manager and research associate for multiple groundbreaking digital health efforts, including the Stitch project, she has been instrumental in integrating innovation into public health systems, conducting capacity building trainings, and strengthening service delivery. Her work bridges data, policy, and practice in ways that truly make an impact here in the Philippines. And of course, another speaker joining us today is Mr. Timothy Bale Mercado, a registered medical technologist and research associate for the Stitch project. He leads the monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning component, which plays a vital role in driving data-informed decisions in the project. So Sir Timothy is deeply engaged in tracking hepatitis screening, linkage to care, and treatment data across multiple facilities. And through his work, he helps identify service gaps and collaborates with health teams to test and refine solutions using iterative cycles of learning and improvement. His insights today will shed light on how data and collaboration fuel meaningful change and hepatitis service delivery. All right, so we have a very exciting panel of speakers. And now to begin our session this morning, please join me in welcoming our first speaker, Ms. Jean Somalo. Over to you, Ma'am Jean. I'll be just stop sharing my screen so you can share yours.
Thank you, Gabby. And let me share my screen. Let me know if this is okay. Or all right. Okay. Thank you very much. So sorry for the delay. So good day, everyone. Thank you for joining us in this webinar series entitled Connected for Care, the Stitch Telementoring series. And I'm Jayan Sumalo. Thank you, Gabby, for your introduction from the Stitch project. And then we're very excited to share with you. We're using telementoring to improve hepatitis care in the province of Tarlac as our project's pilot site. So next slide. Next slide, Gabby. So let's begin with the bigger picture. So by 2040, viral hepatitis could claim more lives than HIV, TB, and malaria combined. So this stark projection pushes us to act decisively, especially within our health system. So now let's take a closer look at hepatitis B here in the Philippines at next slide. So it remains a big health problem in our country. So many Filipinos have it, but most of them don't even know they're infected. So this is dangerous because hepatitis B can lead to liver cirrhosis and cancer if not detected and treated early. Even though there are ways to prevent and manage it, not enough people are being tested. And so our goal is to increase awareness and access to testing, especially in communities and health centers. So we need to catch it early before it's too late. So to my next slide. Just like hepatitis B, hepatitis C is also a serious concern. So around 4 out of every 1,000 Filipinos may have it. And in Quezon City alone, that's more than 11,000 people. So the problem is that hepatitis C usually has no symptoms for years, and people find out only when the disease is already serious. It's also a major cause of liver cancer around the world, and that's why we need to strengthen testing and treatment so we can help people before they get really sick. And to my next slide. The World Health Organization has set ambitious goals. So to eliminate hepatitis by 2030. So sobrang lapit na niya. 5 years na lang. And this means 90% of people infected must be diagnosed and at least 80% of eligible patients must be treated or cured. And in the Philippines, as a signatory to WHA resolutions, has committed to these targets, but nasa na ba tayo ngayon? Where do we stand? To my next slide, unfortunately, in the Philippines, only about 11% of hepatitis B patients have been diagnosed. And this highlights gaps in access, awareness, and systems that Stitch is aiming to address. Next slide. To really improve hepatitis care, we must bring services into our communities where people live and seek care. That's why strengthening primary health care is so important when we invest in local health centers supported by strong political commitment and reliable funding, and we make screening and treatment more accessible and timely. The Speak Project initiative is doing exactly that, and we are working closely with local rural health units and community clinics to help them to screen more people for hepatitis, treat eligible patients early, and monitor outcomes all through guidance and mentoring. So this way, care doesn't stay in hospitals, it reaches the front lines, making real difference for individuals and families. Next slide. So the STITCH project stands for Strengthening Integrated Treatment and Care for Hepatitis in Primary Healthcare Level. It's a joint effort to improve hepatitis care by focusing on the health centers closest to the people. We believe that frontline healthcare workers like midwives, nurses, and doctors in rural health units can be empowered to diagnose and manage hepatitis with the right support. So this initiative is being piloted in 2 countries. So we have that in the Philippines, we have Tarlac, province of Tarlac, and Tai Binh in Vietnam. In both areas, we're working on building political support for hepatitis programs, creating clearer policies, ensuring enough resources are available, and training and mentoring health workers so they can confidently provide hepatitis services in the communities. So the Stitch project is all about working together, local and national partners, international experts, and community health workers to make hepatitis care part of everyday health services. Next slide. So with that, one of the key activities under the Stitch projects, isa lang po to sa maraming activities ng Stitch, is the telementoring series. Ano ba ito? This is an online program made for frontline health workers like nurses, midwives, medical officer, and medical technologists who are working in local health centers. So the goal is to build their confidence and skills in managing hepatitis.
Hi everyone, sorry about that. Can someone confirm if we lost Mom Jayan or is it just in my on my end?
Hi, Gabby. I think the connection still works for me. I think it's Jayan's connection.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, sir, for confirming about that. Maybe, sir, you wanted to add a little bit about telementoring while waiting for Mom Jayan to rejoin the call.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I work with Jayan with this project. And with regards to the telementoring series, as what was mentioned a while ago, basically we are supporting our project sites, mainly our midwives, nurses, and medical officers in the level of primary care to improve their screening, diagnosis, and linkage to care. So I think one of the key indicators for our project is termed as linkage to care. So what does linkage to care mean in terms of hepatitis care and or treatment? So that would mean that individuals who tested positive for hepatitis B would have consultations with a healthcare provider to determine if they would be eligible or would be continuing to treatment or not eligible or would be under monitoring for a period of time. So I think one of the greatest value of telementoring series is that our healthcare providers are able to present their own cases. So that would mean these are led, or the discussions are mainly led by our frontline healthcare workers and discuss this with experts or gather insights from other professionals, especially from the Hepatology Society of the Philippines. So I think what I would also like to add is that this promotes a decentralized, so meaning the knowledge or the level of authority is does not come from professionals but also experts in the ground. Yeah. So I think Jayan has returned. Yeah, over to you, Jayan. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Timothy, for finishing my slide. So that's really thank you for exploring a discussion the telementoring aspect. So next slide. So this is the telementoring format. So we make it short and quick but very meaningful for the participants and as well for the mentors. Since ang mga mentors natin is from Hepatology Society of the Philippines, they're very busy. So we have their different affiliations, different hospitals, and nag-duty sila, but they really come sa ating mga telementoring series. So it's a bi-monthly session, so every other week. We have preliminaries lectures from the Hepatology Society of the Philippines. So different topics regarding hepatitis B and C. So as Tim mentioned earlier, we have case presentation. The participants from the RHU, it's either a midwife, doctors, or nurses, they will present their cases. It's a real case that they encountered during their community activities and as well screening in their respective RHUs. Then afterwards, there are this case discussion. It's a Q&A question and answer portion. So everyone can able to ask questions to the experts from Hepatology Society of the Philippines. And our mentors are really patient, even though it's paulit-ulit na yung mga lectures and discussions. Yung mga mentors natin ay talagang ini-instill kung paano i-manage ang ating mga patients sa primary care level. And I'm very confident and proud that kahit ka midwife or nurse, hindi lang mga doctors can really manage the hepatitis patients once diagnosed and treated. And kanina lang may mga positive kaming natanggap na mga result na nagne-negative na yung some of the patients sa RHUs because of the management from the healthcare facilities. So next slide. This telemetry session, again, our audience are from the pilot side, so medical officer, nurses, medtech, and midwife. So 7 pa lang sa Tarlac pilot sites, but we are now get extended to the Quezon City Health Department. So soon, magjo-join na rin sila sa telementoring sessions natin. And short lang siya, 1 hour via Zoom. Stitch ni moderator and Hepatology Society of the Philippines. Sa right side ng aking slide, ito yung mga nagiging mentors natin. So meron silang nakadeck every other Friday. So napakaganda nila at talagang expert in terms of hepatitis care for the patient. So next slide. So let me share lang one of the presentation na present during our telementoring. So it's a 28-year-old pregnant women, 30 weeks of gestation. So ang entry level talaga namin una ay mga pregnant women sa maternal health. Pero after nun, nung nagawa na ng maternal, we extend na sa lahat ng programs ng DOH. So naka-embed na siya sa other programs, pwedeng sa TB, sa HIV, consultations, even sa EPI and other health programs ng DOH, naka-embed na ang pag-screen ng hepatitis B. So for this round, pregnant women siya, routine checkup lang but na-screen siya for hepatitis and nag-positive siya. So within the RHU, then yung screening, and agad-agad na nag-positive, kasi it's a rapid test lang yon, so agad-agad makukuha yung result. Then na-manage agad ng ating nurse and doctors doon, and as well the midwife. So na-discuss siya during the stitch telementoring na nilid ng ating expert from HSP. So nag-determine kami ng treatment eligibility if yung patient natin eligible siya for treatment or for monitoring lang. Then, pero itong patient na to nag-initiate ng tenofovir prophylaxis. Then, counseled din yung lecture using IEC materials. So, sa stitch din, pinoprovide namin yung mga IEC materials na pwedeng gamitin ng ating mga RHU and the contact tracing. And yung husband ay na-screen for hepatitis B. So nag-positive din yung husband. So dito din discuss sa telementoring anong kailangan gawin sa patient. Syempre, if you're a midwife or a nurse, medyo nung time na before ng stitch ay hindi talaga sila ma-manage or nagbibigay ng gamot sa mga pregnant women. So, re-refer agad nila sa tertiary hospital. But within this project po, nagtitreatment eligible kami at nagkaroon ng confident yung ating mga midwife and nurses para i-treat yung patient. So, nag-treat ng tenofovir prophylaxis and nag-consult din sila kung anong gagawin sa mga other members ng family ng ating patient. So, sa next slide, ano ba yung impact nito sa healthcare providers? So again, as what I said earlier, midwife gain confidence in managing hepatitis case. The RHU staff became proactive in identifying at-risk patients. So mostly halos lahat na ng mga pumapasok sa facility ay tinetest at ini-screen for hepatitis. Nag-strengthen din yung referral coordination between RHU and ERF. So for this pilot site ng ERF natin is yung Tarlac Provincial Hospital. So we have a group chat. So kapag may need silang i-refer agad-agad sa ERF, mga cases na hindi na talaga kaya sa RHUs, agad-agad naman tong nakukuha ng ating TPH. Ayan. So na-improve yung knowledge, morale, and patient trust. Bakit? Kasi before nag-telementoring, nag-series na kami ng training on-site and CBT sa ating mga RHUs health personnel. Next slide. Impact naman ito sa patient and family. So again, early diagnosis prevented mother-to-child transmission. So alam na nila kung paano i-manage since it's 28 AOG pa lang siya. So all throughout na pregnancy, na-monitor siya. Tapos na ma-manage, may plan na kung paano i-manage ang ating mga patients. So access proper care in the primary healthcare level and not needing to travel far. Alam naman natin na sa province po, malayo talaga ang mga tertiary hospital. So, dun sila sa malapit ng RHU pumupunta. Access to free medication. Thank you very much sa DOH kasi sinuport nila yung mga medications at talagang nagbagsak sila ng mga gamot sa pilot sites and basic laboratories. So, lahat po ng kailangan na laboratories are all free sa health center na po. So, husband received timely diagnosis and follow-up. The family became more conscious and proactive. And nagkakaroon, as well, the mga community healthcare workers po ay training namin kung paano mag-contact tracing, kung paano i-approach yung ating families ng ating mga pasyente po. And empowered to continue regular checkups and treatment. So, next slide. For the community impact lang po, i-share ko lang. So, yung RHU na nasabi ko kanina, integrated na siya, routine hepatitis screening for pregnant women and other DOH programs. Of course, yung birth dose vaccination ensured po sa newborn. And family screening, health education expanded po. Nagkakaroon na po kami ng, although ginagawa naman po ng CHW, pero hindi kasama dating hepatitis sa house to house nila. So ngayon po napupuntahan yung ating mga pasyente as well po yung kanilang mga family members po para po mabigyan ng advocacy or awareness po regarding hepatitis and expanded community screening and awareness campaign po. So sa mga medical mission po, kasama na rin po ang hepatitis po and as well sa mga community activities nila na halos po thrice a week po ay kasama na ang hepatitis. Doon na rin po sila nagsiscreen. So kasama yung medtech doon. So next slide. I think yun na. So, yun na yung last slide ko, yun yung impact sa ating community, family, and sa patient po. So i-continue lang po integrate the hepatitis screening yung sa ating mga DOH programs and healthcare workers po. Ayan. So, all right. So sorry nawala ko. So before we end, I just want to say thank you for joining us today, and the work we're doing po sa Stitch Project shows when we invest in our local health workers, build the capacity of the healthcare workers, and support them through tools like telementoring. So hindi po tayo nag-stop sa training lang, all throughout po hanggang next year ng project po namin. Kasama po ang Stitch team para po mag-guide sila sa pag-manage ng ating patients, so we can bring hepatitis care closer to the people who need it most. So let's continue to work po together to make early screening, timely treatment, and better awareness a reality in every community po. So if you like to learn more po, pwede po kayong mag-reach out sa Stitch. Contact nyo lang po yung stitch.upm@ed.ph po, at maraming salamat po sa pakikinig. Let's stay connected for care, and now po, I'm turning you over to Mr. Timothy Mercado for his discussion regarding CQI. Thank you.
Ayan. Thank you, Jayan. Alright. So, basically yung ano natin, yung our discussions on this part would be just complementing what Jayan mentioned, no? So I would be covering lessons learned from the continuous quality improvement on the ground in terms of and in relation to monitoring and evaluation, which I'm sure that some of you are already familiar with. Alright. Yeah. Next slide, please. Okay, so basically what was mentioned a while ago by Jane is that hepatitis is a silent killer of na hindi masyadong napapansin or is not a lead priority for the Department of Health as of this moment. So basically there is a fragmented approach in terms of prioritizing viral hepatitis B or C in different regions within the Philippines. Okay, next slide please. Okay, so my role as a monitoring and evaluation officer for the project is that first of all uh, to provide evidence in terms of the cascade of care with for hepatitis B or C. So as you could see here in this slide, we have different phases, ano? So we have pre-awareness and testing, linkage and initiation of care, and ongoing care and recovery. So across this cascade of care, or what we call as steps within the diagnosis, treatment, and care, no? Parang tuloy-tuloy siya of being or being diagnosed with people living with hepatitis. Part of my work as the monitoring and evaluation officer would be measuring from the baseline data. So what you could see here are some of the baseline data that we have, the different challenges mentioned by people with hepatitis and healthcare workers. So just to share some of the challenges experienced by people living with hepatitis is that during pre-awareness and testing, there is limited availability or knowledge regarding the services of hepatitis, ano, and also feelings of stigma and discrimination, especially in terms of workplace. We had stories from different people who are turned down in terms of eligibility to work because they tested positive, no, for hepatitis B or C. And in terms of linkage and initiation of care, there are many significant challenges in terms of affordability and availability of the necessary services and medications for them to continue to care. And that is passed over or discontinues to ongoing care and recovery. And of course, they have another one would be there are negative effects on mental health as a result of stigma. So what on the other side, the healthcare workers have expressed challenges in terms of their limited capacity to educate or counsel um, the patients once they tested positive. There are few opportunities for training or capacity building for healthcare workers. And of course, we are already familiar with the challenge of inconsistent supplies and medications and forecasting of these resources in any government or any organization. So just to summarize, these are the baseline information that we have collected in order for us to monitor the progress of the project and of course our interventions as we implemented the project. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, so what is continuous quality improvement? So basically this involves a systematic data-guided activity to evaluate the performance of a process or a program with the goal of designing interventions to improve performance or outcomes. So basically the output of a continuous quality improvement would be learning and informed action. So we would like to know whether something works as is intended or the intervention is working as implemented in a particular setting. So yung setting namin would be, or setting in the project would be primary healthcare centers within rural health units, provincial or district hospitals and provincial hospitals as well. So whenever we learn something, of course, we would be the end goal would be to determine the appropriate, adaptable, and scalable interventions within these levels. So I think in terms of interoperability, I think this could be related to the agile process of within the software dev field. So one method for a CQI would be PDSA. So that would be the Plan, Do, Study, Act cycle. So this focus on iteration of interventions, a rapid process of testing changes in a real world setting. So why does it matter in the public health sector? Of course, as much as possible, for interventions to work, we would like to reduce system inefficiencies. So hindi siya piecemeal, hindi tagpi-tagpi yung gusto nating mangyari, but how these interventions would be sort of interoperable within each other. Okay, so the end goal would also be to optimize resource use and ensure that programs remain people-centered or client-centered, data-driven, and adaptable. So a key factor for a Plan, Do, Study, Act is that it also promotes accountability. So in our experience or in my previous experience with monitoring and evaluation, the accountability part is kind of not focused on. However, our approach for CQI and PDSA is that we would like or we emphasize accountability. So PDSA is actually a flexible method, and is also could be implemented in different sectors or fields or professions and not only in public health. Okay, so next please, next slide. Okay, so how did we do the PDSA cycle here? For in terms of planning, we are conducting monthly CQI meetings to determine the problem within the cascade of care or the implementation of services in our project sites, and determining different strategies, approaches, or interventions to improve this or to address these challenges. And this also involves setting an objective, setting a deadline, and planning to test the change. So I think this is similar to sprint planning or writing a user story, in terms of software dev. For doing, of course, we implement the plan on a small scale. So typically, this is already applicable in our setting, because this is we consider our project at a small scale at this moment, and documenting what happens during the implementation. For study, we test and review the performance metrics. Of course, we have our program indicators, um, uh, such as the number of those individuals screened, number of those tested positive, the number of individuals who are initiated on treatment, and the like. So last but not the least, we act. we decide whether to adapt, or abandon the change that we identified, and of course plan for the next cycle if that would be needed. So in terms of the IT field, we push updates or decide na what would be the next backlog of items that should be addressed, no, based on our learnings. Okay, sige. Next slide, please. So what you see here would be the progression of linkage to care rate over time since the start of our project implementation, no. So the darker blue ones would be the number of those that tested reactive per month, and the lighter blue one would be the number of cases that are reported to be linked to care over time. So what would be important of CQI is that we addressed system inefficiencies. I would just like to emphasize, that the crucial part of a CQI or PDSA is that interventions depend on one another and are not fragmented as much as possible, or they do not operate on a single or a singular function, no? As you could see here, with the linkage to care over time, we have reached, a steady state of more than 80%. And we achieve this through iterating different interventions to improve linkage to care and adding other layers of analysis. So I think for interoperable systems, there are different metrics, ano. So that is also applicable in our case. We go beyond service coverage indicators, and as much as possible, no, we work in an evidence-based or evidence-driven actions to, to make these interventions more effective. And more than that, we focus on the end user. So who would be our end users in this case? That would be our healthcare workers or our frontline healthcare providers. We focus on co-designing solutions or interventions with them, and then we value or we integrate their insights, no, that would be really essential in implementing the PDSA cycle. Okay. So I think for this one, the key lesson here is that interoperability is really evident in different health sectors, ano. So just like how systems work, once integrated ang isa't isa sa interoperability, that is also evident in the public health sector. So as I could see here, different individuals, different participants from various sectors, academia, PhilHealth, Department of Information Communication and Technology. I think the added value of this diverse participants is that ayun na nga, each of us have our own role or additional roles to really implement a change in the public health sector. And I think that would be a deeper discussion or future discussion for this. Okay, so I would be ending my slide here, and hopefully there are questions for both JN and I regarding our discussions. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sir Tim and Ma'am Jian, for a very enlightening talk. We've enjoyed, especially me, I've enjoyed the informative lecture, and I really learned about the ongoing efforts on the ground for hepatitis care. So the telementoring series and the CQI efforts of STEACH project really, I believe, has a great impact for hepatitis care here in the Philippines. So today we gained valuable insights on that. And now I'd like to invite participants to share their thoughts and even ask their questions. So again, you have three options. You can either use the raise hand function, chat your questions in the chat box, type your questions in the chat box rather, or use the Q&A button. Okay. So are there any questions from the group? Okay. So here we have one anonymous question. So what are the challenges of adopting an agile process for monitoring and evaluating public health interventions? And I think this question is this question is for Sir Tim. Yes, Sir Tim.
Ayan, thank you. All right. So, just like what I've discussed a while ago, no. So in terms of being agile, that would be meaning iterating when we say iterating, that would be starting from scratch, and also from starting from scratch, we develop later on, and then from that informed or from that learning, we develop another round of learning. Ano. So, in our experience, this agile process is already being implemented, no, in the ground. However, this just needs to be formalized, or we just emphasize the role of our healthcare workers, ano, in terms of implementing this agile approach to addressing challenges in their services. So I think more than that, I think before kasi, di ba, yung in terms of projects, there is usually a top-down approach. So meaning yan, the projects would determine how or they would be leading the continuous quality improvement and M&E sessions with our healthcare workers. But for us, we we emphasize the insights of our healthcare workers since sila nga yung end users. So I think primarily yung challenge lang talaga is the familiarity, or like um this innovation is being implemented in the ground. Yes.
Thank you, Sir Tim. And you've mentioned po yung parang not necessarily upstream. Ano nga po yung term na ginamit niyo?
Oo, hindi siya yes, pwedeng upstream itong method na to, and not limited to a top-down method from project leads or project organizations to implementers.
So very inclusive, and they really parang mas ano ba, like sa culture wise din ng community. Yan. So very interesting po this one. Okay, so are there any questions po from the group? So here I can see a hand from Sir Steven. Yes, Sir Steven, go ahead po. Please unmute po yourself.
Okay po, ma'am. Good morning po, ma'am. I'm audible po from your end po.
Yes po, we can hear you, sir.
Yes po. Good morning. Good morning, ma'am
Good morning.
and sir. Good morning po. And sir, thank you po for the very comprehensive and well-informed presentation po. By the way po, I'm Steven John Meliandas from Sultan Kudarat State University, but right now, nandito po ako sa Municipality of Calamansig, Sultan Kudarat po. Meron po akong two questions po regarding sa topic na ito, which is intended for the either of the two of you, my dear speakers for this morning. So number one, na-mention kasi ni Ma'am J.Ann kanina yung pilot implementation nyo po ng project nyo po. And I just wondering po if do you have a plan po to expand this project not only in NCR but in, let's just say, one in Luzon, one in Visayas, and one in Mindanao po in the near future po?
Thank you for that question. Yes, Ma'am Jayan, please go ahead po.
Thank you for that questions, Sir Steve. So, for this project po kasi, it's a 5-year project po ng Stitch with Vietnam and Harvard. So, ang focus po namin is one pilot site muna, and may extension po siya. So, in-extend po namin sa 4th year sa Quezon City, and now currently po, nag-kick off na po kami sa Quezon City. So, may urban po tayo and may rural po. So, ito po parang kailangan namin siya ng proof of concept po para later on, mabigay po namin sa DOH, ma-present po sa ating national. Siguro si Tim po yung mga kasagot kasi nakasama siya sa NAP last 2 weeks lang po. And kung ano ba yung sustainability nito. Pero currently po, ang focus lang ng 5-year project po na to, ng Stitch project, is 2 sites po. The Tarlac and the Quezon City po. And hopefully, yun po ang goal talaga ng Stitch ay ma-extend siya and ma-implement siya sa Philippines. Pero si Sir Timothy na po siguro mag-discuss further neto kung ano ba yung plans after the 5-year project.
Thank you, Jayan. So, just to provide some context din, from our baseline analysis and discussions regarding the situation of viral hepatitis B and C dito sa Philippines, it's actually kind of talagang nakakagising siya, or we realize that this is a huge public health burden, especially some regions in the Visayas. We have high cases of viral hepatitis C, and we have not seen any signs of this slowing down. And then for hepatitis B, majority of our patients are females, and some of them are caught or are screened during their maternal or prenatal care. So with this baseline, what we've been doing so far is building an essential implementation package. Pag sinabi nating essential implementation package, these are different interventions, different tools wherein um, local government units could adopt if they express interest in adopting an action plan for viral hepatitis B. So one of our progress din so far is that we have been coordinating talaga closely with the Department of Health, making hepatitis B much more visible as compared to before in order to address this. So I think with your question, basically with regards to expansion, hopefully that would be led by our central office for the Department of Health. So what we're just doing now is making sure that we contribute to that very significant step in our sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Tim and Ma'am Jayan, for that. We hope po, I hope po the speakers were able to answer po your
Ma'am,
questions. Sir Steve. Yes po.
Ma'am, last question ko na lang po.
Sir po, go ahead.
Linawin ko lang po, ma'am. Ma'am Gian said earlier na after 5 years is parang ang interpretation ko po is after 5 years is it's up to the DOH kung mag-expand po yung program or your project. Correct me if I'm wrong po.
Okay, Ma'am Jayan, maybe we would like to
Uh,
add.
Hopefully po, yan po yung talaga yung sustainability plan po. Ibigay po lahat ng mga materials, i-coordinate po with DOH, and sila po mag-implement, mag-lead po as Team said earlier po. But yes po, hopefully at sana po. And ma-coordinate po namin sa central office po na ma-implement po sana ito at makita nila yung value ng ginawa ng STITCH project, as well yung mga research, publications na nagawa po within the project time frame. Pero kasi alam po natin lahat, if project po talagang may project start at may project end, and hindi naman po sustainable yung funding lang po na ginagamit namin for all Filipino people in the Philippines po. So meron lang po talaga kaming mga target sites. But hopefully po makita po ng ating hindi lang po ng national, pati po ng local. Kasi ang local din po talaga, if may good governance po, pag sila po yung nag-lead, yung mga local government, yung mga LGUs po natin, pwede nilang i-adopt po kahit hindi po ang national ang mag-lead nito. Pwedeng sila mismo sa LGUs mag-lead nito. So yan po. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sir Steven. Nasagot naman po ba ang iyong katanungan, sir? Or may gusto pa po kayong iklaro? Naka-mute po kayo, sir.
Unmute.
Ayan po. Ayan, we can hear you now, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. I'm very naman po satisfied regarding the and I hope na after 5 years from now or even either 2029 ba implement na po in the
Hopefully
Philippines
po.
na po talaga. Hopefully, ma'am. And I'm really excited for this one kasi I share lang po, konti lang po. Kasi meron po akong mga friends po na may cases po ng hepatitis B. And yung friend ko kasi po is from the province, mag-direct po siya sa Davao or Cagayan de Oro. Which is parang kwan po napaisip po ako na parang it's high time na siguro na magkaroon ng project kasi if yun nga yung sinabi niyo po kanina na whole government approach and kung may good governance and may will talaga yung mga local government unit natin in the entire Philippines, I think kwan po ito magkaroon ng perfect and it's high time na talaga para magkaroon po or magkipagsabayan tayo sa international healthcare sa buong mundo po in the near future. Thank you po.
Maraming salamat po, Sir Steven, for that. And yes, we're excited as well at UPM Silab. Kaya po, we're bringing the community together. And I think it's very helpful that we get to learn different tools from different projects po that are currently being implemented and hopefully will be institutionalized in the future once po turned over to the Department of Health po. Ayan, so maraming salamat po. Are there any other questions po from the group? Actually, eto ma'am, may tanong po dito regarding po telementoring series, Ma'am Jayan. So, how often do you think should telementoring sessions be done to keep health workers engaged? And do you think the bi-monthly frequency of these telementoring service is efficient or optimal po for such for the project? Over po.
Thank you, Gabby. And kung sino man po yung nag-question yan, maraming salamat. So, nag-start po kami ng telementoring last year. So, ika-second year na namin to. And I'm very proud po kasi yung number po namin ay same pa rin until now. And ayun nga, as kita natin sa presentation kanina, impactful yung ating telementoring sessions. Na-reiterate lahat. Parang it's a review na rin para sa mga healthcare workers natin kung ano natutunan nila during the training. And what else? So, sagot ko ba, Gabby? May kulang pa ba sa question? Sorry.
Paano po nag-decide na bi-monthly po yung frequency ng telementoring series? So, was there a framework na finalo po ng Stitch or parang nag-decide lang yung HSP or yung project team na bi-monthly is the official or the optimal frequency po?
Yeah, so during the series of meetings then with Timothy kasi may mga, as na-discuss din niya, may mga series din ng consultations with the project implementation side. Sila din talaga yung tinanong namin. So what are your free up days and ano ba yung frequency? Kasi medyo madami rin talaga silang activities. Meron silang activities from the mayor's office, from DOH program. So nagbigay sila yung it's a consensus meeting na every other Friday. Tapos sila din nag-decide na alternate ang mga RHUs to present, hindi lang yung ERF, hindi lang yung certain RHUs na maraming mga cases, yun lang at yun ang magpe-present. So lahat, everyone, may time na mag-present ng kanilang unique cases na pwede lang i-share sa discussions. Then 1 hour siya, it's a Zoom. Talagang nasa-study din na hindi rin natin sila makukommit sa longer hours na via Zoom na telementoring. So we make it short, quick, quickly sana. Kung na-resolve na yung case within 30 minutes, then that's it. So, very meaningful but quick and for every other Friday then hindi rin nakakakuha kami ng unique cases kasi. So, hindi siya paulit-ulit na case na paulit-ulit din na sinasabi yung mga management. So, that every other Friday, that bi-monthly, it's a really unique case na lahat nagpo-participate, lahat nakikinig sa telementoring sessions.
Thank you, Ma'am Jay. I think you really answered the question well. And interesting na yung commitment from the participants itself ay involved dun sa planning ng telementoring series. So sasabi nga din po ni Sir Tim kanina, hindi siya top-down. Tama? Yan, okay. So, are there any questions from the group? Ayan, may tanong po tayo sa Q&A function ng Zoom. So what is the process po for the screening, confirming, and referring hepatitis cases po within the project? And are new technologies or innovations already being used in the testing or the management po of hepatitis care?
Sige, I think I'll
Okay.
get this one. So, Screening usually occurs dito sa originally, no? Pag sinabi nating originally, kung ano ba yung status quo or paano nga ba nasi-screen kasi ang hepatitis B or C. For hepatitis B, usually talagang part siya ng maternal or prenatal care. However, one of the innovations that we have done, not specifically na dun sa materials or equipment that we do, but then yung innovation namin would be in terms of process. So for the new process for screening, we advocated for expanding the screening services to the general population. So meaning yan is whoever enters or whoever visits the healthcare facility for any type of healthcare consultation, whether for hypertension or diabetes or kahit flu, ganyan, they would be offered hepatitis B screening. And I think from that innovation, what we've seen, no, a huge number or large number of cases were screened through general consultations, no. So that is good one. So that is a good innovation. For confirmatory process, we have decentralized. Pag sinabi nating decentralized, we expanded the capacities of our sites to offer viral load testing. Pag sinabi nating viral load, that is the confirmatory process before initiating the treatment. So we need to determine the number of virus or the viral load before we assess for treatment eligibility. So the status quo, or initially, the viral load testing is just limited to one large facility or tertiary hospital. But then we advocated again for this to be downloaded or expanded sa RHU and also to the district level. So that is an innovation that resulted into shorter days of delay between screening and viral load testing. And for the referral of cases, I think we also encouraged then our healthcare provider network in Tarlac uh, on how to improve their processes of inter-facility or within-facility referral. So I guess that is already an innovation that they've started so far before the implementation of the project. And what we've did is just to determine the key challenges and also suggest technical solutions in terms of yun na nga, cross facility or within facility or within healthcare provider network referral. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sir Tim. Very comprehensive answer po for the questions. Siguro, one last final question po before we wrap up. Is it okay for our speakers? Okay, so here's a question po. Curious lang po, what are the key selection guidelines or criteria why the Tarlac province was the chosen area for the pilot phase po of Stitch project? Anyone can answer, Sir Tim or Ma'am Jeanne? Pwede niyo ba siyang i-disclose?
Maybe
Ah, dito si Jackie. Hi,
Jackie
Jackie.
here.
One of our colleagues dito sa project.
Oh, would Ma'am Jackie would like to join po the
Hello.
discussion? Ayan.
Sali pa ako sa Q&A. Pero hello
Hello, Ma'am
everyone. So, yung naging process po sa selection, unang-una yung buy-in po ng local governance. So, isa po yun sa naging important na criteria. Pero apart from that, nagkaroon din po, may ginamit pong framework yung study when it comes to selecting based on WHO framework po pagdating sa facility readiness and yung healthcare system readiness. So, ayun po, combination of tools from WHO and at the same time with buy-in from the local government unit.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Jackie po, for joining the discussion. And I hope we were able to answer po that final question. Again, thank you all for your valuable contributions and for sharing po your insights po about the topic. Again, thank you to our speakers, Sir Tim and Ma'am Jeanne. Now, before we end this session, on behalf of UPM Lab, I would just like to present this certificate of appreciation to our speakers, Ma'am Jay and Sir Tim. So again, thank you, Ma'am Jay and Sir Tim, for sharing your expertise with us. And before we formally end this session, I think ito yung inaantay na iba. I invite everyone to please turn on your camera. Let's have a quick group photo po. In 3, 2, 1, smile. Again, thank you all for joining us today. Remember, the conversation doesn't have to end here. So I've been saying this repeatedly. So please stay tuned for future updates on our webinar schedule for the month of August. You can always find the latest announcements on our Facebook and LinkedIn pages. Again, I invite everyone to please join our community of practice. So you may scan the QR code flashed on your screen at the right and at the left naman po to receive your electronic certificates. And of course, for us to improve our next sessions, kindly answer the evaluation form flashed on your screen on or before 12 noon today. That brings us to the end of today's session of IOL 101 Connected for Care Stitch Telementoring Series and Lessons Learned from CQI on the Ground. Thank you to our dear speakers and to all of you. Once again, this is Gabby Velasquez. Thank you all for actively participating and let's continue to collaborate and learn together. See you next time. Bye. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone. Thank you, thank you. Have a
Thank
good day.
you.